Elden Ring features some of the most stunning visuals ever seen in a game. Each area of the map provides a unique atmosphere of the landscape and the sky, and it would really translate well if we could edit our photos to look something like that. I'm going to show you how to recreate the different areas of the world of Elden Ring in Lightroom into your photography. Today we're going to be editing like the Liurnia area of Elden Ring, but in future episodes of the series we're going to cover each of the other areas in the Elden Ring world, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those future episodes coming soon. Okay guys, this is the image that I chose to convert into the Liurnia field. So we're going to go ahead and walk through each of the slider changes that we're going to do. One of the coolest things about this particular edits is that there's no masking. It's entirely presettable. We are going to come away from this video with a Liurnia preset, which is pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and walk through our sliders. We have just a few changes to make to get from our top image into something that looks like Liurnia. And we're gonna start off with our temperature and tint sliders. First, we're gonna take our temperature down just a little bit here, and then our tint down just a little bit as well. Just to get it a little towards the green side. Liurnia is kind of, I don't know, it's like a hazy blue. It's hazy blue across the board. So we're gonna kind of emphasize that. We also are gonna have some kind of bright yellows. So all of our oranges that we see here in our building right in front are gonna be converted to kind of a lighter, softer yellow, like a pastel yellow. So that's kind of the overall tone we're gonna go for. So we want hazy, we want blue, we want yellow, okay? So after changing our temperature and tint, we're going to come over to our exposure and we're going to drop that down just a little bit as well. We're going to be able to brighten up individual sections a little bit later, probably drop it down about half a stop here. And then we're going to go for our highlights and our whites. We're going to take our highlights all the way down, like minus 60 or so, and same with the whites. And then we're going to take our shadows and bring them up a bit. We're going to try to like flatten this image out just a bit here, because Liurnia is pretty flat. Like everything's kind of the same luminance. So we're going to take our highlights down, shadows up a bit, and that's going to get us right where we want to be. Now if we come over to our present slider, starting with the dehaze, of course it's going to come down. Like Liurnia is pretty hazy, so we're going to drop it down to about there. Our texture is going to come down as well to kind of emphasize the haze. Like if there's haze in the way, you can't see textures very well, right? So we're going to drop that down, and then we're going to bump up the clarity just a little bit to counteract what we've been doing. Also, it kind of makes it a little bit brighter. So I think right here is going to be a pretty solid spot to be. Our vibrance and our saturation are not going to go anywhere just yet. We're going to adjust those by color individually in the color mixer in a minute. Coming over to the tone curve here, so we're going to put our points on the line here, and basically what we're going to do is lift all the shadows way up. Or not way up, but like a decent amount. So like our first 3 to 4 points are going to come up off the line just a little bit, off the center line. Even this one just a bit. And then our brightest highlights up here are going to come down below the line. So like I said, we're just flattening this out, and if we compare it to Liurnia a little bit, it's a very flat image. So we have a pretty good feel of what the light looks like. We're just going to have to do some color adjustments in a bit, a couple more adjustments to that tone curve, and we're going to be good right about here. Now let's come on down to our color mixers. Let's get our colors correct for Liurnia. Starting off, I always like to start with saturation. Saturation right away, I want to take red, green, and magenta all the way down. I don't think that Liurnia features any of those colors very well, so we're just gonna bring those down right off the bat. I like to, typically when I edit just overall, I like to just limit the image to just a few colors. So just take away anything that's in the way. I know we have a lot of trees here, and that's fine, but if we look at Liurnia's trees, they're kind of yellow. So we're gonna emphasize the yellow a little bit more. We're gonna bring that up a bit. And then our orange can kind of stay where it is, maybe come down just a tad, just like this. Blue is going to be an important piece, so we're going to bump that up to about here, I would say. Maybe we can go a little bit higher, like plus 30. And then aqua can come down just a little bit because we want a powder blue, not really any greens or aquas in there. So, and then we do have a little bit of a purple feel in the Liurnia scene, so we're going to bump up purple just a little bit just to emphasize that. Moving on over to the hue sliders. I mentioned earlier that Liurnia's yellows are kind of like pastel yellow, and we don't have any like solid oranges in there. So we're gonna take our oranges, move them way over to the yellow side, kind of like this, and then our greens way down to the yellow side. We're just trying to get a flat yellow color across the board. Convert all of our oranges and greens into yellows, and then this is looking a little bit funny, but we're going to move on over to luminance now. For luminance, we're going to darken those oranges back down a little bit, darken those greens back down a little bit, and brighten up those yellows quite a bit as well. So that's going to be looking pretty good. And we can get our blues slightly over to the left as well, and that's going to be a pretty solid start for the colors. Now we can move down to the color grading wheels here. We have shadows, midtones, and highlights. Now this is going to be pretty easy. All three of them are going into the dark blue section, just a bit, kind of like this. And that's going to get us our dreamy, like, blue and yellow feel here. We have a pretty solid match to what Liurnia looks like by just moving all of our color grade to the blues. And then because this image has a nice set of yellows already featured, like, within the image itself, we're going to be able to emphasize those pastel yellows right with the colors that are already present, so we don't have to color grade for that. Just a couple more adjustments. We're going to bring our shadows and blacks back down just a little bit towards the +20 area. Let's see, tone curve looks good to me. I think color mixer looks pretty good as well, and I think honestly this is a solid ending point for Liurnia. Like, if we take our image, put it next to the Liurnia image, it's looking pretty good in my opinion. So you can basically just copy these sliders as a preset. We don't actually need to adjust calibration. We don't need to mask. This image is kind of perfect. It's got kind of like a partly cloudy, partly sunny sky. We have it's blue hour, which is honestly like what Liurnia represents. Pick a photo at blue hour with just a little bit of light cloud coverage, I think, and some yellows to be able to emphasize the pastel yellow features that Liurnia has. And I think we're going to be in a really good spot. Let me know if you like this edit. Let me know which Elden Ring area you're excited to see the most, because I'm going to do videos for them all. Check out the Stormvale and Limgrave edits that are already on the channel, and then subscribe so you don't miss all of the future areas coming up shortly. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see you soon.